Welcome back to episode 2 of I Took the Risk. Here we want to tap into the minds of entrepreneurs and other creatives. I'm your host, Corey Bishop, and here we have Miss Alicia Mackey, the owner of StayTrue StreetStyle, where she wants to connect and build opportunities in the community. All right, so tell us about yourself.
Well, I grew up in Delaware. I went to 2 HBCUs, got my bachelor's from Cheyney University, first HBCU. Then I went to Del State, got my master's from Del State. Now I'm a teacher in Philly. I teach 6th grade history and science. So that's kind of what I do. And now I design apparel for everybody.
And you went to what high school?
I went to Concord High School, the best high school, period.
The prestigious Concord High School.
The prestigious Concord High School.
So, when did you start your business?
I started November 30th, 2020.
Okay, so tell us about it a little bit.
So I literally started it in my apartment, at my kitchen table, and I was like, yo, I can do something. Like, I just want to get up and create something. Like, I want to be good at something, and we was all sitting in the house for quarantine. So it was like, I need to do something, like, because I always told myself that, like, I don't have any skills, like, I don't have any talents, so I just wanted to, like, find something. And I was like, yo, I can make shirts. Like, I can do this. Like, this is not hard. So I just went to the store. Well, I went on YouTube, went to the store, and I was just, go from there. I was in straight go mode.
Okay. All right. My guy said YouTube is the best teacher, so.
No, literally.
Wow.
Best teacher.
Right. So, what drove you to start making apparel?
All right. So I was buying clothes from this guy. And I was trying to support the Black-owned business, and I went to go buy again, right? And I just kept getting a bunch of excuses. Like, I put out $145 for this stuff, and I got nothing in return. So I was just like, I'm gonna start doing stuff for me. And I was like, if people wanna support me, then I'm gonna just do it from there. And honestly, it's just been a blessing since then. I'm just at the point where it's like, if you want to do something, do it yourself. Like, don't wait for nobody, or don't think that you can't do something. Like, you know?
Absolutely. DIY, do it yourself, was like
DIY?
Or DY, yeah. DY, whatever. It was one of the biggest things during the quarantine ever. During the whole pandemic time, everybody was doing their own thing, doing it themselves. So,
yeah. I
mean, that's what's up, that you birthed the whole clothing brand, or clothing apparel, out of the pandemic. So what about let's talk next steps. What about the next steps from 6 months to a year from now?
So from November to now, Stay True has been kind of just like t-shirts, bike shorts, hoodies, like different things that you could just feel flying, right? But just working with kids, working with the youth. I've been working with kids since I was like 18, so since I was a kid. I really want to work on giving back. So I want to turn Stay True StreetStyle into a scholarship that's going to help at least three kids a year pay for their first year of college, as long as they're going to an HBCU. Like, HBCUs are in the forefront of everything right now, and so I just want to keep that passion going, and I want, like, people who look like me, kids who look like me, to, like, go to schools where they will feel comfortable, because I went to a PWI and I didn't feel like I was at home. Like, I felt like a statistic, so.
And for those viewers that don't know what a PWI is?
It's a predominantly white institution, okay, so a non-HBCU.
Yeah, thank you for clarifying that.
For sure.
So let's, you talked about wanting to give back to the youth, and have you seen any aspiring entrepreneurs coming out of your school, or that you've taught, or see just the bright minds behind them wanting to, even start their own business?
Yeah, so I mean, I'm looking at, there's a lot of kids that, have their own ideas, and just looking at some of like 8th graders and 7th graders, like girls who are doing hair, girls who are doing nails, guys who are making shirts. Like, here in Philly, I had a student a couple years ago, his name's Trey, he has the brand Spurgo. Okay. So he's like doing it big, but like, that wasn't really my inspiration. My inspiration was just giving back, like, what I mean.
Yeah, absolutely. I think giving back to the next generation, or the young people that want to have a voice of entrepreneurship is very important, because they need to see somebody that maybe is not as at their age or at their level, but not too far away from them, to be able to see that they can aspire to be what they are at that point and then go beyond.
Yeah, for sure.
That's definitely key. So did you have any fears when you first started making the apparel? If so, what were they?
Absolutely. Like, biggest fear was just failing. Like, I feel like that's anybody's biggest fear. Like, I mean, no, I'm gonna speak for myself. I feel like that's my biggest fear in general, like, is failing. So, like, with me starting something, you know, there's always fear of doing something on your own. Like, you have no one to help you. Like, no one's doing this. This is your idea. So definitely fear of failing. And then just, like, people not liking it. Like, nobody's supporting me. And when you think about it, like, I feel like that's a fear that's pretty legitimate. Like, it's not like, oh, you shouldn't think like that. Like, no, like, that's a pretty legitimate fear. Anything new is gonna be uncomfortable. Definitely. And, you know, starting something from your own, like, it's not gonna feel like organic. It's not gonna feel regular. Like, it's gonna be new. It's gonna be fresh. So just that fear of, like, trying something new and, like, you know, just taking that first leap. Like, you gotta jump. It's just when.
Definitely. So I was having a conversation with a friend of mine, but he's an entrepreneur as well. And I asked him the same question, and he told me that the fear he had was to succeed. And I thought that was very, not backwards, but kind of profound a little bit, because everybody does not naturally go with saying their fear of failure, but fearing to succeed is like, that's on a different level, because if you succeed, how do you deal with being successful? Right. And a lot of people don't know, or don't understand what it takes to manage the success level of your entrepreneurship or your business, or whatever industry you're successful in. So I definitely agree with both sides.
Yeah, for sure.
So when did you decide to take the risk of becoming an entrepreneur?
So, like, I've always had that, like, thought of wanting to do something that's my own. Like, obviously the goal is I don't want to work for anybody when I get older. So just wanting to do something, I guess, was kind of the start. Like, quarantine literally, like, sat me down. So, like, as I'm, you know, coaching, like, I have practice this day, I got step practice this day, I got to teach this day, we got lesson plans due this day. Like, I was always constantly doing something. So now that, like, I'm at home and I'm sitting down doing, like, absolutely nothing, like, my life, I just refuse to be, like, Netflixed out and Hulu'd out and, like, not doing anything. And I'm just like, I have to do something. And I thought working out was going to be it. And I was like, no, this is boring. Like, I tried cooking. I was like, mediocre. I tried getting video games. I bought a PS5, swore I was going to be playing Call of Duty again. No, like, like, I just tried all of these things. And I was like, none of this is making me happy. And so I'm just like, I just have to try something. And then when I moved, like, that put me in a state of isolation just by myself. Like, because when quarantine started, I was still, like, living at home. But then when I got by myself, I'm like, yo, I can't just, like, waste this empty apartment space and not do anything. Like, you know what I mean? Absolutely. So that was kind of the start, just being sat down, like, by myself.
And I definitely think the pandemic did that to a lot of people, because coming out of the pandemic, you've seen a lot of new businesses or booming businesses or home workout entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
You know, the do-it-yourself people.
Yes, DIY.
Those people, you know, those people have really kind of exploded in coming into 2021.
Yeah.
So, side note, shameless plug a little bit. Your brother's an entrepreneur too.
He is.
Shout out to Anthony Bastone, man, my guy. He's a real estate agent, so it kind of runs in the family. I'm seeing, like.
I mean, something like that.
I just did a little shameless plug a little bit.
Yeah, and like to kind of tell that story too. Like, we were kind of just at the stage where it's like, what we're doing just isn't what we really want to do. Like, he doesn't want to work for a company where, like, he's getting paid little to nothing to be out in the streets, like, putting his life on the line, especially when COVID was, like, a real thing. And, like, he was out there on the front line, like, every day. So, like, why not make money for yourself? Like, selling houses, making clothes, doing whatever you want to do. And I will say that he is a top salesman, but this ain't about him. This is about me. So it's like.
That's cool. That's cool. So before we wrap up our last question, you mentioned that StayTrue, you want to turn that into a scholarship fund.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know too many black-owned businesses or businesses in general of this level yet that want to do something like that. What inspired that kind of, or that thought process, like, okay, I'm going to turn my clothing brand into a scholarship for young people that want to, whatever industry they want to get in?
Yeah. Honestly, the scholarship started from seeing, so like, you know, working with kids now that they're getting older, like I'm seeing a lot of like the kids that I had when they were younger, and now they're getting ready to go to college. And like having conversations with them is like, all right, what do you want to major in? Like, what do you want to do? But then the next question is like, nobody really asked me when I was going to school, is like, how you paying for this? And like, when you think about it, it's like, how am I paying for college? Like, do you know how to fill out a FAFSA form? Like, do you know how to look for scholarships? And like they taught us in high school, like, look in the book, find a scholarship. But a lot of those scholarships that I saw like in high school, especially going to a high school that was very mixed, a lot of those scholarships weren't for people of color. Like, or they weren't for majors that more people of color go to. Like, you get a lot of the engineerings, you get a lot of the doctors and the nurses, and you want to do science and stuff like that. But you don't see a lot of HBCU scholarships, especially in the area that maybe you and I grew up in. Like out in Philly, here in the city, it's like they're pushing HBCUs because they are, like, it's in Pennsylvania. Like Delaware, we have what, one? So when you think about it, like it's not a big deal. So just asking kids that are getting ready to go to college, like how you're paying for college, and they really don't have an answer and don't know. Like I want them to be like, yo, I'm about to see what StayTrue is talking. Like, what can I do to get a scholarship? Like, what are the requirements and things like that? So, and just pushing them to go to schools that they'll feel comfortable at.
Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure.
Being comfortable is a necessity into whatever field you want to be in, because if you're not comfortable, you're not going to like it. If you're not going to like it, you're going to quit. If you're going to quit, you're not going to have a job. So it's kind of a trickle-down effect.
For sure.
So I'm glad you hit on that. So let's talk advice. What advice would you give someone who is looking to start their own business?
Do it.
Okay.
Like, you have to try, right? So it took me, now don't get me wrong, like this didn't just come out like first try. Like I was up 2-3 in the morning trying to figure out how to cut some vinyl, trying to figure out how to press a t-shirt, trying to figure out what kind of t-shirts actually press. Like, and I wanted to give up so many times. Like I wanted to take everything back. I wanted to just give my money back. Like, cause let me get this very clear. It's not cheap starting something. Like, you're gonna have to make a sacrifice. You're gonna have to try. You're gonna fail a couple of times. Like, it's gonna happen. I was like, but it's not how you start, it's how you finish it. Or it's how you keep going. It's how you persevere through it. So honestly, my advice to people that like wanna start something is like, start somewhere. Like, try something, try different things. And if it feels uncomfortable, it's probably right for you. Because that's how, like, it was so uncomfortable making shirts. I had shirts that were crooked. I had shirts, letters falling off. I had shirts, I done burnt the hole through the thing because I pressed it too hard. Like, but you just try. Like, just try it. And if you don't like it, try something else. Like, but don't give up on trying, because that's where we fall short. Absolutely. Is when you just stop. Definitely. Yeah.
Where can they find you at?
You can find me on Instagram at StayTrue_StreetStyle, or you can find me on my website at www.staytrue-streetstyle.com.